Hey guys, it's the Items for Master and welcome to this brand new The Sims 4 Let's Build. And today I'm actually here live and we're going to do a live Let's Build again, because for some reason I was really feeling like doing like a regular Let's Build again, because whenever I speed it up I end up not being as interested in the build anymore. And also I noticed that in that way you aren't as connected, or as you're just not as connected to the build, and it's not as interactive. That's just what I want to say, because often I've pre-built a lot already, and therefore like your suggestions can actually not go through. But in this case now I have a holiday, so in that way I have much more time to record, and in that way I can record whenever I want, and that's just every time after I've uploaded a new episode. So yeah, just to let you know, you can leave any feedback on the build, and I haven't told you yet, because what are we going to build? Today we're going to build a gym. So we're going to build something that fits with the newly released stuff pack, the fitness stuff pack, which doesn't really contain that much fitness items, and it's more of a climbing pack, because we've got that huge climbing wall, which is a very important part of the pack. But generally it's not really a new gym stuff pack. But I thought, you know, I've never built a gym before. I have built a spa which had some gym aspects, but this is really going to be a gym, and it's going to be my dream gym. So that's just, I go to the gym at home every now and then, whenever I, well, 3 times a week I try to go whenever I've got time. And recently, because I was on a holiday and I had my exams, I wasn't able to go that much, but 3 times a week is sort of my goal. Just to get that summer body ready, of course. But yeah, therefore back in the day when I didn't go to the gym, I never really understood why people went there, and also I didn't really understood the use of having like a home gym, why people wanted that, or especially also the reason people wanted to have a gym at a hotel. Because whenever I stayed at a hotel, often there was like a gym, and then I thought, you know, cool. And then as a like 7-year-old I went on all the machines, but of course not really to gain power or whatever, just to have fun. And then I didn't realize that people actually have to, you know, continue doing the gym stuff. But anyways, today I'm building my dream gym. I thought it would be cool using some of the new items, because don't get me wrong, I think this new pack is really cool, because so far in this video I've been sort of negative about it, because I said that there weren't very many gym items coming with it. And that's correct, they should have added more gym items, because for instance I haven't seen a bank crash. Also the rest of like the new items which come with this pack, which have to do with the gym, are just remodels of the things we had already, except for the climbing wall. But the other items, the sofas and the chairs, are really cool. So that's the reason why I actually really like this pack. And yeah, the items just look so good that I know that many of them will be used in like literally every house. Because for instance, the toilet, pretty cool toilet, and that might be like sort of a small thing for you if you're not really into building, but seriously, that's a thing a builder can be happy with, a new toilet. But also a new sink, for instance, new sofas. For some reason the items just look really cool, so I'm going to use those in the lounge area, because of course a cool fitness or gym should also have a lounge area. And yeah, if you have any feedback, if you have any dream which you want to have in this dream gym, then yeah, let me know, because like I said, it's a live Let's Build, or at least it's, you know, live being that I'm talking right now while I'm building and I'm not talking to you afterwards, which really makes it much more interactive if you ask me. It will be a little bit longer, but the episodes will be around 20 minutes I think, so longer episodes. It will take a little bit longer to complete, but I'll just finish it, won't be a problem. And in this way I think it will be much more fun. If you have any tips for me on how I can make it better, then please let me know, because yeah, I'm always up for or in for like new things to add to the videos to make them better. So before I actually started recording this video, I already made sort of a plan, or at least I started building just so that I would know what I want to build, and I'm not starting with nothing. So I just quickly have to look back at what I created, because in that way it will all go a little bit quicker, because otherwise I can imagine that this could get boring. And that's often the feedback I got on these live Let's Builds whenever I did them back in the day, because back in the day I always did it this way, but back then my English wasn't the way it is right now. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it is better nowadays, believe me or not. But yeah, therefore I'm just going to try it again. And for some reason I just really wanted to do a live Let's Build again, because it's just for some reason more fun for me to do it this way. It's honestly also a little bit easier to do it this way, because you just sit down, you talk for 20 minutes, you do some building, which is fun, and then that's it. By the way, if you're hearing like some low sound noises, as you probably know, Europe is hit by like some sort of heat wave, which isn't exactly a heat wave, but it's getting near it, or at least here in the Netherlands it's getting near a heat wave, but it's not exactly one. But therefore we've had like great weather for the past couple of days, which is awesome, and I always love hot weather and I'm happy with it, so don't get me wrong. But now we've got such a typical storm, but also honestly this weather has been the reason that I haven't been able to upload as much, simply because, you know, with this weather you just want to be outside and have fun. It's not that the room I'm in is like very hard to record in when it's hot, because this is like one of the coolest places in the entire country right now, I think, without having aircon. But it's just, you know, a really chill place to sit. But of course with this weather you just want to go out with friends. And before recording I actually went to the beach, and then this winter storm actually this summer storm is actually starting right now. So if you hear some noises about that, just know that it's not anything bad. It's not my house like falling apart. It's just some summer storm, because I believe in England you also have a heat wave, and I saw some videos of people in Paris who also had like a heat wave. So it's like basically I'm not saying that the entirety of Europe is hot, but right now it is exceptionally hot in places in Europe where normally it wouldn't be as hot. But yeah, maybe I should say what I'm building right now, because you might be, okay, what's that? Well, that's one of the coolest things ever, because who doesn't want to have a gym? Oh, I shouldn't have added those windows, or I don't know. But I mean, if you go like full out with your gym, you should just have like an infinity pool that is floating in the air and just looking fancy, having like a cool view over the sea, so that after your workout you can just jump in that epic pool. I mean, if you ask me, that's like a dream when it comes to, it's not that I dream about gyms, to be honest, but that is a really cool thing if you could design your own gym some way. But often gyms want to be as cheap as possible, so therefore they don't really offer it, or at least my gym doesn't, unfortunately. I mean, maybe I should, have a proposal, show them what this looks like, and then maybe someday I've got like a cool gym that looks like this, but probably not. I'm also going to start with some painting already, because in that way I can sort of visualize the style to you already as well, because I wanted to go for like a very industrial style, because the items coming with this pack are very industrial as well. For instance, this sink, if you ask me, this is like if I could design a sink for myself like for in The Sims, then this is totally it. Like, this is such a cool looking sink. It might be strange to some people that I'm getting so obsessed about such small things, but seriously, builders can get so happy in The Sims having new items which are like totally the style they like, and this is totally the style I like. So what I imagined to be over here is like some sort of balcony, so that you can actually make like a really cool Instagram picture of the pool, because in that way, if people post about your gym on Instagram, that means that you're getting some more exposure, and that means that more people are coming to the gym, most likely, and that's always good for a gym, I guess, because more people, more money, more happy, I guess, and also more pools. So I thought, making this like the cool gym, I'm just adding like an infinity pool. Also, you might wonder why didn't, if you like the views, okay, this is a bad sentence, but what I wanted to say is that probably you think, why didn't you make like some kind of, what do you call it, a penthouse gym? Well, I thought about that, but recently I've also done like a penthouse restaurant already, or a rooftop restaurant, and a rooftop gym is what it would be, not a penthouse, because it's not a house. But I can imagine that came up to you maybe, or at least it came up to me. But I decided not to do this, like I said, because I've done quite some rooftop things already recently. And also, I just wanted to create like a regular gym, which everyone can add. Also, people who don't actually have city living. So yeah, still I will use items from like every stuff pack most likely, or just any stuff pack. I'll not be limited with that, but yeah, you know, it will be replaced if by the gallery if you don't have the pack, so that shouldn't be a problem. But I didn't want to build something on a rooftop again, even though I can imagine that this one would be pretty cool, but yeah, I'm not going for that today. So this is sort of what I came up with so far, which I thought is pretty cool, because I really want to go for some special shape, sort of, to really make like an architectural interesting building, because in The Sims you can, you know, for instance, the bowling alley which I created, which you have maybe seen, but probably not, because not very many people actually saw that video. I thought that that was like architecturally a very interesting building. In real life it would most likely not be possible, because it costs too much money, and maybe physically with physics, yeah, it would just be so expensive to let it work out with the physics as well. But generally it's just so expensive because of the huge amount of glass. But I really like the shape of that building and the way I implemented the bowling alleys into the building, sort of, and I can imagine that, you know, it just like, I felt like I thought about that, sort of, and it's not just a cool looking building, but I sort of thought about that. Not saying that this is going to be exactly that, but that's sort of the way I want this building to be as well, or at least I wanted to seem like I thought about it well, and just, you know, I want the shape to be special. That might be strange, but yeah, I just want to have not the regular shape, I guess. You know, the building getting in shape, you get it? Pun? Okay, sorry. Then here we've got the third level. Do we need a third level? Yeah, I think so, otherwise it looks sort of weird. Let me think. First I would like, because I just came up with that, we've got some items which I think are really cool, but I almost never use them. So right now I finally, before building, realized that we've got those items and I could use them, because often I realize that afterwards, and then I'm like, okay, I will use them next time. Is that I'll use this one. Did I type the cheat wrong? Are you serious? Okay, that's just because of the stress of so many people watching. I'm also been thinking about live streaming again, because I have done like 2 live streams, or were it 2? It could be, I'm not sure, 2 or 1, whatever. Live streams, and that was seriously a lot of fun, because in that way I can sort of talk with you in some way, and also just build a bit, even though I didn't actually build that much. There were people, because I streamed on Twitch, so there were people just coming to watch like a sim stream, not particularly a stream by me, because I shared it on YouTube, but there were also people just coming from Twitch, I guess. If you are familiar with that concept, you probably understand what I mean. And they were like, why aren't you doing like The Sims? Or at least I was in The Sims, but I was only talking, because I was answering questions, and it was just a lot of fun. So I was thinking of doing something like that sometime again, but yeah, I'm also like, I can also make videos in that time, and maybe it's better to make videos. But in this way I sort of have the feeling that I combine it, because I can just talk to you, or at least I feel like I can talk to you, and it's a little bit more interactive than the regular videos, and it's not live, so it's still just, you know, a YouTube video, which is what I want to upload. So in that way it works out, I thought. Let me think. We also need to add a hot tub somewhere. I shouldn't forget that. Okay, you definitely heard that thunder. But anyways, a hot tub, because that's another thing I always forget to add, or at least, yeah, I don't think about that when planning the house or the building, so that in the end I have to add it in at some point where I don't think it really suits to be added. Let me think, because this is the entrance. That's what I imagined it to be. Then we do have new windows. I'll show them with the new pack, but I'm not sure if I like them. These ones are pretty okay, so maybe I can use them, but the door doesn't really fit it. So then I would have to use this door, but then this doesn't fit again, so then I would have to change it a little bit this way. That's not that bad actually. I thought it would look worse, especially if I just add some black to the back, some black painting. You know, whenever I build, sometimes it's like all over the place. Other people just plan their entire building, and I often just, you know, start adding wallpapers already whenever I want. In this case, I will also plan the building a little bit so that the interior and especially the layout is logical, because for a gym, it's, you know, you just want to have a logical layout as well, because it's a commercial building, so it's not, you know, it's not just throwing like, okay, this thunder and the storm is getting way too like loud right now, but I hope it's not a problem. But no, what I want to say is that the layout is something which I'll work on as well. Maybe I should start working on that right now, because in that way I know how to do the exterior as well. So you enter, you've got like a desk, I guess, and then I think you've got to go left. Right now that seems logical to me, at least. This doesn't really seem logical to me, this thing which I added over here. I just added it because it looks a little bit more interesting, and I'm not sure if that's like enough reason to create it that way. Let me think. Yeah. Let me think, because I can just add some glass there by, you know, just doing this, which still looks pretty interesting. I think I'll just do it this way. We got to continue. Yeah, but for some reason the lighting is strange in this place. Don't know what the reason is. Well, that's because it's, the game thinks it's a room even though it's not, and that creates sort of a strange situation. Okay, and this is also, how am I going to work with those? Maybe this works. I hope you really don't hear the storm. Probably you do, but yeah, if so, I'm sorry. But you know, I can't change the weather. Well, I probably shouldn't record right now, but otherwise the weather is too good to record, so then, you know, otherwise you don't get any videos. So probably, you know, just don't complain. Let me think. Then this would be sort of a cool entrance area, I guess. Maybe I should add a cafe to the right, but I could also add a cafe, some stairs up to a cafe, because the cafe will be on the rooftop. Let me think, because I'm also planning on adding like a basement, because I saw that in the building which was on this spot before I started building, because it was just the base game or the Sims team created gym, and they had like a basement with a pool in it and then some windows around it. It looked really cool, so I'm planning on creating something like that as well. And I want to do that to the right, I think, so we can't make, yeah, that's cool, because then we can make a lookout sort of over here. Let me think, because then we just remove this. There we go. God, how am I going to do this? Because I don't actually work with basements a lot, simply because they often just make the building a lot bigger, and that means much more furnishing, and I don't really like that, if I'm honest. How do I delete the wall? Oh, that's something I always forget. I always have to look up like a tutorial. Oh, there we go. Or at least right now I know it, but often before I actually knew it, I always had to look up like a tutorial on how to do that, because I simply forgot. So then, you know, you can imagine what I imagined to be here. You know, we've got some windows over here. Let me add the middle one as well. There we go. Now it's done. And then you see like a cool pool over here, because if the weather is not good, you want to probably swim indoors. Even though if it rains and you get wet, it doesn't really matter because you're in a pool. But hey, I can imagine that if there's like a thunderstorm, you don't want to be in a pool. Maybe it's cool to add like an open area as well, because you know, it's always cool if the ceilings are high. And we've got some new lights with this new pack as well, which I could use. So, you know, in this way, I'm going to be working on making a cool interior and exterior, sort of combining that, and also making like a logical interior, because, you know, this seriously feels like building planning, sort of, as if I'm an actual architect, I guess. Even though they probably, or at least I'm sure, they don't do that in The Sims. But hey, why not? They should. Then here we can make the changing rooms, I think. Even though I would have liked to make them a little bit more fancy. How am I going to do this? Maybe I can... Okay, I've got a plan. Because what I could do is making, you know, just creating this and then making a hallway, and then you have to go through the changing rooms in order to get to the actual gym part, which seems logical to me, to be honest, because in that way, you know, people have to of course change before they go to the gym, but you know, you can also change at home, I guess. So then you should also be able to walk around it, but in this way, if you also make a hallway to the side and then also in the back. Yeah, I am taking up a lot of space, and we've not created any place yet for like any machine and just weights. But that's sort of the thing that sucks. You don't even... Okay, thinking about it, actually they should have really added more fitness items with this pack, because I don't... You know, I like the items from this pack, but they should simply not have called it the fitness or the... What is it? Fitness stuff pack? Because where's like the dumbbells, you know, rack where you can put them down, and where's like I said, the bench press and all that stuff, it's missing. So would have been cool if they like added that, because right now this is not exactly the way I imagined like a gym stuff pack to be. But oh well, hey, we cannot change it, they've released it. Can't do too much about it, I guess. Now don't worry, I'm not closing it off, but I am changing it a little bit. That's cool, because now it actually seems as if we got freezers like back in The Sims 3. I mean, this is really cool. I wish we were able to make like small freezers like these in The Sims 4, just without having to do this sort of, and being able to do that on any level, because that would just make the buildings look so much more interesting. But anyways, I just noticed, okay, the rain is starting to really go right against my window. But that's the reason why I'm also ending this episode. And also I just realized that I've been talking and playing for 23 minutes already, which is longer than I was actually planning to do. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this first episode of the gym let's build. Yeah, that's it, let's build. I thought I was saying let's play, but I'm not saying let's play, so that's good. Yeah, as you probably noticed, I'm enjoying this because I've been going on for way too long. I'm very excited to just be doing a let's build again. It feels good, to be honest. And yeah, I'm just excited to build this to build this gym. So don't forget to leave your opinions and your feedback as soon as you can, because then I can continue working on it again, which I would really like to do. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like on this, or just like this video, subscribe if you haven't yet, because we're very close to 100,000. So if you know anyone who would like to watch these kinds of videos, yeah, just link them to my channel, because in that way I will be able to reach the 100,000 subscribers sooner, and I mean, that's really cool. So thank you for watching, and then I hope to see you back later.